seriously though, I mean, around the holiday seasons, if you don't have a child, most likely you are having fun
Oh
with
yeah.
your
Oh
partner
yeah.
and
Oh
you
yeah.
are probably having some sex. And
I don't think
so,
that's a doubt. We're all in agreement here. Yeah.
right. And so that's when things like feminine hygiene products.
That's your intro into this. That's actually not bad. I'm buying it. I'll buy it. I'll buy it. Go on.
Okay. But
Oh,
on the real, like you are probably having sex during the holiday season. And so you want to make sure that all of that is taken care of.
sure. I mean, that's what happened. That's how I got a baby. Telling you, be careful is what happens.
Exactly. So, um,
Oh, here's a pop-up.
what's interesting here is now, so, when we first met Couché, they just had a pretty standard website. E-commerce, it's difficult because if you're in a product that is a beauty product, when you go to e-commerce, you're selling bottles, legit, like it's a bottle when you're looking at it, right? It's
See,
like, this is what it is. Here are all the touts, but everything is a picture of a bottle.
see,
So I think it's hard. What we're
selling
going
your
to see
bottles.
is like all these things that you need to do to convince somebody to buy that your bottle of stuff is more valuable and better than that person's bottle of stuff.
Good, that's a good overview of what e-commerce is, especially when it comes to products and you don't, yeah, sure.
You
Which is
also
why descriptions, right? Is content descriptions, SEO, all that stuff come through. You got to click off that pop-up. It bothers me.
though we do know why this is here, right?
Yeah.
We
Oh
know why
yeah.
it's here. So
It works.
it works. Well, let's go back to the data. Let me bring up the case study.
Yeah.
So what we observed on the control page was that people who were taking this quiz, which was down at the bottom, down there, if you have questions about what's down there, we have answers. And people who were taking this quiz actually had a higher probability of converting on transactions than people who didn't. And so I think you guys hated this idea. Like,
Yes. I'll
like,
tell you why though. I'll tell you why because what we're testing here is ideally it makes sense because you want people to, if we're already proving that people who are taking the quiz have higher conversion, so why not we push 100% of the traffic to the quiz and see more people convert. It makes sense, but in a UX, UI, and development standpoint, you're also not allowing people to shop other things. So that was one of the things that we were concerned about whether or not that it's going to work. So I remember my CTO Tasha and I talked about that. We're like, do we even want to offer that as an option because we don't think that's a good user experience? But then we run it again because we are curious to know whether or not that A/B test even works.
well, and
And it
that's
turns out
that's the beauty
they might.
of
Yeah,
having a team, right? Like testing is
correct.
a team sport. Like you sometimes
Correct.
you disagree.
Oh yeah, and the numbers don't lie, so it's much better for us to not argue over it, but like let's just see what the number says.
Well, and our
And it
happy
did.
well, so let me explain what the variant was that was so disliked. But it was basically we're going to push people. So instead of showing the collections on the collections page, which granted, this is controversial, we're not going to show them the collections, but we'll instead level up just the quiz. We force the quiz. And by going through the quiz, the hypothesis was if you force somebody through the quiz will then create a personalized recommendation of product, which people will then buy. So it's not like they never get to the product, but they have to take the quiz first. From a psychology standpoint, it was more like, well, if you're trying to sell a bunch of bottles of something and you're convincing that this bottle is better than that other website or other vendor's bottle, what we're saying psychologically is like a quiz is putting somebody closer to the need
Hmm.
and making the urgency like increasing the urgency, increasing the personal motivation to buy it because there is a presentation like it is personal, and it is personal. a personal recommendation versus just here's everything that we have.
Correct. Correct. Especially products like this that is about feminine product, that's very close, is not as educated for a lot of women out there. The quiz actually really do make sense. Those are problems that you don't usually want to talk about, like odor, feminine odor issues,
Right. Like I'm not going to call
or
you up.
sweating,
Oh, yo, Carol.
itch.
Yo,
Some's
Carol.
itchy, itchy. Gotta take care of it. What do I do, girl?
Right.
That's not a conversation you took a phone call for. So I
Right.
feel you. I feel you.
Yeah. But we did have a happy medium and it's hard to see here, but we did say, okay, we'll keep the navigation. Because
Correct.
in the original variant, we were like, remove the navigation.
Give
I
them no options but the quiz. Yeah, I
right.
remember that conversation.
And so that's where like tech, UX, design, strategy, and psychology came together for this awesome test. Okay, so tell me, what did you think was going to happen at the end of this test?
My hypothesis, along with Tasha's, was the same. We totally thought people were not going to like that. We thought people were just like, don't tell me what to do and make me take a quiz. And again, it's personal preference. But we did forget that this specific of a product goes very well with the personal quiz. So to be very honest with you, I was very skeptical. I was like, I don't think people would want to be forced to take this quiz. And from what I remember, it wasn't the lengthiest quiz, but it wasn't short either.
So let's go back to the page and see how it did. Oh,
Drum roll. I love it.
so the outcome was the transaction conversion rate increased 70% by diverting you
I
completely.
should just shut up. Say no more. See?
I think that
Opinions.
that's why CRO is pretty fun. You start to
I
learn
agree.
a lot more about your customers, your needs, and from a data standpoint, now they're collecting all of those question answers
Info.
anonymously, but collecting them so that you could see what answers are correlating to the best outcomes, lifetime value, large average order values. So that's
Those are such good information to keep as an owner. And I think that really proves that as much as you think that, oh, I'm going to trust my gut, like Tasha and I were very confident, like, this is not going to work from based on our experience. But then look at this 70%. It's just freaking amazing. And that's such a good information for the couche to have.
yeah. Now we see what they're doing with their website is that it's
Yeah.
really not just on that this was a test for one landing page. And now any page you go to, it is off. I mean, now I'm concerned though. Now I'm a
We
little
need another
concerned.
session.
It's like, did it work too good, Couche? Is there a point of diminishing return? But it's clear, like they definitely want you to, they want to know that about you, and they want you
Yeah.
to get through this. It's very clear that there was value to the
Hmm.
entire website. Otherwise, this modal wouldn't
Yeah.
be there.
And I think they really go in the right direction based on what the results have given them. They know that based on the product, like you said, bottles of things, right? They know their bottle of things needs to have a sensitive touch to it, especially like a personal concierge for you to walk in and be like, let me ask you questions because this is a fairly new concept. There's not a lot of companies out there that talks about vaginal needs, right? So I think like some of these questions, if you really take them, I never thought about them. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure.
I have
And
them.
there is a faction, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because this is gonna keep moving. But there is a faction of wellness that actually does this very well. Um,
Yes.
so, for example, vitamins, for example, fitness programs. So you see a
Yes.
lot of these like, Alex Hermosi types, like gym guys, like,
Yeah.
okay, let's decide what is the best for you. And I feel like there is something that other beauty products can learn from that. It is
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
we are selling bottles of stuff containers of stuff, and all we have is packaging to differentiate. But by putting the user closer or learning those things that we've learned from gyms, vitamins and stuff that are like, oh, take this
Hmm.
quiz, see which
Hmm.
vitamin is for you.
Hmm.
Could we
Hmm.
find things like baby food,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
like other
Yeah.
jars of
Any supplements. Yeah.
men's razors? I don't know.
Okay. Razors is, I also think that you can utilize quiz also in the wrong way. Like if you only have three products, why'd you gotta do a quiz?
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, that's true. I have seen that too. I've got two products: one vitamin for adults and one vitamin for
Yeah,
kids.
let's take a quiz. Like, okay.
Right. Context is everything, everybody. That's the main
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
um, what was the last quiz that you took?
Oh, very
Is it
good question. I
is
took
it
one
safe for work?
yesterday. No,
Oh,
it totally is safe for work. I'm not like you. I don't schedule billing during the middle of the day. Oh, I know the secret now. Uh, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I took a quiz. I took a quiz for it's like hormone. It was like this like Chinese herbs hormone like supplement. It's a supplement. It's
yeah.
supplement. And
Mhm.
again, it goes back to it's very similar. It asks you very intimate questions. Have you had a baby? Are you, have you ever had, bleeding? Do you have any like, coloring, whatever, all that stuff. And again, it's all about female reproductive system and all that quizzy questions that you don't want to answer at the doctor's office, but they have it on the quiz, and you're like, oh, this is much easier.
Mhm.
So that is the last quiz. I took it yesterday.
Yeah. And did you buy the product?
No, I did not. I'll tell you how crazy it is, though. They really hone in on the conversion afterwards, which I respect. I was like, yeah, girl, you get them. But basically, the minute you finished the quiz, the entire website was for Carol. It was like, hi, Carol. Hi, beautiful. Remember, you need this. This is what the quiz says you need. And it was like email, 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 follow up, text messages. It was like, hey, remember that one time you took a quiz? Yeah. And then so,
All the stuff about you that you didn't want to tell your friends.
yeah, 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 yeah. Stop
Only
telling
your
me about it.
friends. There is definitely a creep line that I mean, as a data person who likes to get empathetic and I talk about anthropologic detail of the customers, the execution of what you learn is an
Yeah.
art.
Truth.